So today's topic is mental discipline. This is one of the requirements of the Dedekind Path of ADF, and the requirement states an essay or journal covering the Dedekind's personal experience of building mental discipline through the use of meditation, trance, or other systematic techniques on a regular basis. The experiences in the essay or journal should cover at least a 5-month period, with an 800-word minimum. This means that although your minimum is 800 words, your maximum is 3 times that. So 2,400, if I'm not mistaken on my math. So let's break this requirement down a little bit. So it says an essay or journal. The easiest one for your reviewers to deal with is the essay versus the journal. Reason being is because with the essay, you can put in specific dates and times that you did your meditation practice, and your reviewer does not have to go through and find, week by week if you actually did your work. Another reason that some people choose to do the essay over the journal is due to the fact that if there are extremely personal circumstances within some of your meditations, you can leave them out and not have your reviewer read them if you so choose. Now, this requirement is over a 5-month period. It says a regular basis. This regular basis is at least weekly. You must have at least one piece a week in order for this requirement to pass. There have been people who have had their entire Dedekind package returned based on this requirement because of the weekly factor, and the requirement does not state weekly, although the reviewers do require weekly. Now, this requirement is one that a lot of students get stuck on because they'll have a week go by and not do any meditation practice, and then they have to start all over again. It's an unfortunate part of this particular requirement, but it is true that if you miss a week, you do have to start over. However, there are some tips to help you not get as distracted when you are trying to do your meditation practice. One of them is to turn off the ringers on your phone. Just think about this. If you're trying to do meditation and your text message ringer goes off, or a phone call comes in, even if the phone call comes in on your house phone line and you're living with other people, someone else answering the phone can affect you. So turn off the ringer on at least the phone closest to you, if not all the phones in the house. Tip number 2, if you have pets, a lot of people do, and a lot of people have pets that will bang at doors and cry at them and do a whole host of other distracting things. The best thing to do is try and figure out a way to work with your pet's personality in order to have them not be as annoying during your meditation time. Personally, I have to let my cat in or do so once she has been locked up for the night, because otherwise she bangs at the door, she cries at the door, and then my mom is intercomming my room saying, "Let your cat in." So the third tip is notifying anyone you live with what your plans are for the next little while. So if you tell them, I'm going to meditate for the next 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 10 minutes, that way they're not trying to come knock at your door or doing annoying things around you, etc., so they know that you're actually planning on doing this. Another tip is to reduce the lighting in the room you are using. If you reduce the lighting in the room, you reduce the stimulus that your eyes are intaking. Even with your eyes closed, there is a certain amount of light that comes through our eyelids. We all know this. It's bright lights, and it's that red tinge over your eyes when your eyes are closed. If you reduce this, it makes it darker and the blacker so that you're actually able to focus on your breath and focus on what's going on versus focusing on those little shapes that go by. Tip number 5, and this is a big one for this specific requirement, which is schedule time. Our lives are hectic. Our lives are based on clocks. The thing that we have to do is schedule time for ourselves. So with this, some people will do up to 30 minutes a day, or even a 30-minute session once a week. Just allow yourself ample time and ensure that you actually put it into your schedule so you know that this is the time you're going to do this. One of the last tips is removing all distractions. So turning off the television, turning off CD players, turning off MP3s. If it's not influencing your meditation, it can be extremely distracting. Music that has voices in it is also extremely distracting. However, a plain harp or drumming that has no voice to it can actually help your meditation practice, as it drowns out the other noises. Some people will find that they have over-the-top experiences. They will find that they shapeshift in a trance mode. Not everyone will have these experiences right off the bat. This requirement is based on getting you to try, getting you to attempt to do things. It's not about perfecting it in 5 months, which can be very difficult for some people to do. It's the fact that you're sitting down and you're actually trying to do the requirement and trying the different pieces. Now, there are certain meditations and whatnot within ADF's practices that can be very useful for working with this particular requirement, such as the 2 Powers meditation. The 2 Powers meditation can be worked on a fairly regular basis and not have anything wonky go. So you can work the 2 Powers meditation and still have all your senses to you when you return. It's not a full deep trance, but it's one of those, it shows that you're actually trying to have some of the mental discipline that is required for this requirement. There are different ways of fulfilling this requirement. We do like to see that someone tries a sitting meditation first, such as the 2 Powers, or standing, etc., before they move on to an active meditation or something along those lines. Seated meditation can be tricky for some people, depending on if they have things like ADD or ADHD or any host of other mental stuff going on. It can be a difficult one to quiet your brain enough to try. However, as I said, this requirement is about the attempt. So the requirement states through the use of meditation, trance, or other systematic techniques on a regular basis. This can be focusing on your breath, ensuring the complete breath, which is talked about in the Dedekind Guide. This can be, if you're a little bit more experienced, this can be different trance techniques, such as auditory stimulus. It can be different postures, different scents. Personally, there's one scent that will drop me down into a meditation or a trance state in a matter of seconds if I allow it to. It's one of those things that you have to find what works for you and work with that. Without finding what works for you in these cases, you're not going to have as much success. You just have to work with your own body and your own surroundings. Some people will go out to a park. Some people will have chronic pain conditions that they have to watch their positioning in order to ensure that they're not going to have too much pain while trying to meditate. That can be a tricky one, and that's where it's very dependent on your own personal being. If you've got, a bad knee, you might not be able to sit cross-legged for a long period of time. Or if you have a bad back, you might not be able to sit in a chair. So it's these things that you have to know about yourself in order to be able to adjust for. With that, this requirement is a trickier one because of that 5-month every week thing. If you try for every day or every other day, if you at least miss one, you're not going to miss the entire requirement. So I like to try and tell my students to go for daily, because if they miss a day, it's still at least once a week, and they're going a little bit further. Time-wise, even if you try sitting for 5 minutes at first, And then once you're comfortable, increase it to 10 or increase it to 7. It's as long as you continue to try and continue to push yourself, this requirement will be much easier. As I said, a lot of reviewers do prefer the essay over the journal just because it also helps file space. Because another requirement is your home shrine, where you're including pictures, which can affect your file size for uploading to the ADF website. So with that, I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say on the mental discipline aspect. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me. A lot of people have me on Facebook, or you can use the message thingy with this video. All right? So with that, I think I'm going to stop the broadcast, and everyone have a nice day.